Okay, so what in the world is going on in Afghanistan right now?
This morning, very serious news. The Taliban are now in complete control of Afghanistan.
The Afghan citizens chasing a C-17 aircraft, even clinging to its landing gear as the U.S. military plane attempts to depart. All this as the U.S. military does its best to help manage what has been a very chaotic evacuation.
Desperate crowds had been rushing the runway, trying to get on board planes. A U.S. military cargo plane reportedly carrying 640 men, women and children.
I can't believe the world abandoned Afghanistan. Our friends are going to get killed. They're going to kill us.
This looks like a scene out of a movie. It's literally looking like World War Z out there. Hundreds of videos are popping up online that show the disaster after U.S. troops finally left Afghanistan. And there's even video footage of terrorist groups finding a large stockpile of American weapons that was left by the U.S. troops. And now all these guns and weapons are now in the hands of the rebels.
Taliban fighters took control of the capital less than 20 years after U.S. forces overthrew their government. Afghanistan's president fled the country, and much of the population is in hiding, afraid of what's next.
And just like that, the Taliban is back. And if anybody didn't know, this is bad news for everybody. We have the Taliban back in power just weeks before the anniversary of 9/11. What this really means is it is not safe out here no more. And we now, once again, have to watch our backs and worry about terrorist attacks, executions, suicide bombings, and all that other craziness, because apparently that's back on the menu in 2021. But how is it possible that the Taliban was able to bounce back and take over the whole capital city of Kabul in one weekend? Now, some people on the internet are blaming President Joe Biden for pulling the troops out of Afghanistan. But some people are also blaming the Afghanistan military for not defending and standing up for their own country. And just like President Biden said, why should American troops fight and die for a country that refuses to fight for themselves?
American troops cannot and should not be fighting in a war and dying in a war that Afghan forces are not willing to fight for themselves. We trained and equipped an Afghan military force. We gave them every chance to determine their own future. We could not provide them was the will to fight for that future.
But of course, you know this gets worse. Because right now, over 15,000 American citizens are trapped in Afghanistan right now. And the U.S. Embassy is now stating that there is no way that they can get the remaining American citizens out of that country safely. And even worse, our elected officials are really saying that the safety of American lives are now within the hands of the Taliban. I never thought in a million years that we would hear those words and that the United States would now negotiate with terrorists. And no matter how you slice it, the truth is 20 years of American soldiers bleeding and risking their lives has now been reversed in only 3 days. May God be with us.